Hello.
हाय सायन।
Hi Adi Didi, how are you?
आई एम गुड, आप कैसे हो?
मैं भी ठीक हूँ. तो आपने डिड यू डू दैट फिबोनाची रिकर्शन थिंग?
या मैंने किया है, मैं आपको भेजूँ कोड अपना?
हाँ हाँ, सो वील रन इट वंस.
या आई विल सेंड इट टू यू ऑन व्हाट्सएप ओनली.
You can send on Zoom chat over here.
ओके ओके, आई विल सेंड इट ऑन ज़ूम चैट, जस्ट अ सेकंड.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just copy and paste the code. I'll just share my screen once.
या
So I've opened Replit over here. So this was like my code that I have prepared. Let's see over here the code that you sent. So if n is less than 0, then we are showing that print incorrect input. If n is equals to 0, then we are returning 0, and if it is equals to 1 or equals to 2, then we are returning 1. Okay, because less than, when it is 2, then we get 1 only. And then
या
when we are saying else, return Fibonacci n minus 1 n minus 2. Yeah, so it's a very similar code only. So if I execute Fibonacci and pass it, so I'll have to loop first. So I'll copy this loop and Fibonacci. So we're getting 0 1 1 0 1 1 2 so 0 1 1 2 3 5 8 13 21 and 34. So this is the correct
या
output. Yeah, so this works. While recursion, we could have also just said that, like, instead of or n equals to 2, then also I think it would work. Yeah, or n equals to 2 without
या बिकॉज इन द केस ऑफ टू ऑल्सो इट विल द फिबोनाची n minus 1 plus n
yeah.
minus 2 will work.
Yeah, so n minus 1 will be like 1, that will give 1 plus 0, because n minus 0 when we pass, so it will get 0, and it would return 0 plus 1. So
या
we would get 1 only. So yeah, this Fibonacci code worked. That's great. And I think that I was going a bit too fast in the classes part. So do you do you have did you understand everything, or we should move further, or I should just repeat once, like the str method and all?
it once. या
I'll repeat. So we create a class using the class keyword, and basically in that we can have properties, methods, etc. So for example, in this class we have this is a my class, and we are saying x equals to 5. So this is one property of the class my class. So when we print my class, we get class main dot my class. So it is basically showing that when printing my class, that this is the class over here. So this is how it's
या
printing the class. And then we can create an object by, we call a function, we say my class, and this creates an object of the class. And basically classes, I'll just say once again that they are used when we want to create objects, and they are like cookie cutters. So for example, we have a cookie cutter through which we can create different shapes, sizes of cookies. Similarly, this class can create many objects. For example, a list class or list constructor method or class that is already there in Python, that can be used to create many lists for us. So as we saw, when we pass anything to it, so it can be used to create many lists for us. A list of integers, a list of strings, but all it will create will be lists. Similarly, a my class can create like many objects for us, but they will be objects of this class my class only.
Okay, understood.
So when we say p1.x, we'll get 5, because x is a property of my class that we are accessing using the dot notation.
Yeah,
And then we have the init method. So basically when we use the init method to initialize our properties for the class. So like it's an underscore underscore init underscore underscore. That's how we write the init method. And whatever like values we get or pass to the class, for example when we are creating an object, we are passing it John and 36. So these values will be received by this init method. Now the first parameter, like a custom value will be put. So for example, this object p1 would be passed as the first parameter. Second parameter will be John and third parameter would be 36. So the first parameter's value will be p1, that is the object that we are creating through the
yeah,
class. And
yeah, I remembered.
yeah. So when we say self dot name equals to name, what we are doing is we are saying p1 dot name equals to John. That is what we are
John.
doing when saying self dot name equals to name. Similarly, self dot
Yeah,
age equals to age is doing the same thing. So when we print these,
yeah,
we'll get John and 36. And then we have the str method. So basically, like for example, what we do, we try to print the object of this class person. Then what we'll get something that is not readable by you. So by this we don't like understand what is actually happening in the object or what is coming. For example, if we try to print a list, if we get something like main dot list object at something something something. So for example, when we try to print a list, then we get something like this instead of like the proper list value. Then we don't understand
yeah,
anything by this. So what we do, we create an underscore underscore str method. So we say define underscore underscore str underscore underscore. And in this method what we do is we basically return what we want to like show when we are trying to like create the object. So for example, we'll say self, so we'll print for example self dot name. Oh sorry, I opened something else by mistake. Yeah. So oh sorry, I forgot self.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's giving an error that return non-string type. It returned non-type. Just a sec. Just a second. So we're getting self. Oh, so we are printing
and
over here. We
A.
had to return. Sorry, we had to
Yeah,
return because we are using the print statement over here only. So we had to return the
yeah,
value that we have to show.
yeah, understood.
Yeah. So basically the string method, like this function executes or returns the value when we are printing the object of the class. Next we have methods. So we saw that we can create the methods of the class also. For example, we are saying define myfunc over here. So this is creating a new method myfunc that is of this class. So when we create an object of this person, for example p1, then we would be able to execute myfunc on p1. So when we say
Yeah,
p1.myfunc, it will show hello my name is self.name.
yeah, understood.
Yeah. So it's basically like the up uh, like the append method in like
Yeah,
lists. And then there is the self parameter. like we saw, we can have different names for the self parameter. The self parameter is just the first parameter. So for any function or the init function, the first parameter will be the self parameter, but it's not necessary that we name it self. We can name it anything, like any other variable name. So over here, like we are saying my
Yeah.
silly object in place of self, and then we are saying abc. what what basically the first parameter will get is the object on which any property is being accessed or the function is being called.
Okay.
So like when we say p1 dot myfunc, p1 is passed to the to my function, and abc's value is p1.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then we can modify, like we access, we can modify the properties also. So for example, the age property, when we say p1 dot age equals to 40, so that will change the value from 36 to 40, and then we print, so we get 40.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we can delete object properties using the del keyword, so we can completely delete them. So when we say delete p1.age, it will completely delete the property, and then when we try to print it, we will get nothing.
Yeah.
Then there's the pass statement. For example, we have nothing in the class for now. We just want to define the class, but we don't want to add anything into it, so we can just say pass,
Yeah.
and it will like pass.
Yeah. It'll just keep it there.
Yeah, it will just
Like
keep
no
it.
error will come.
Yeah, it will just ignore it.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. So next there is inheritance. So in inheritance, what we want to do is, like we want to create a parent class, and then there's this child class. So the child class, what it does, it has extra properties, and it inherits properties and methods from the parent class also. So for example, in real life, we say animals. So animals have like have common properties. They will have a body, they will have a heart, they will have muscles, etc. But then we can create like subclasses. For example, birds. So birds will inherit all the properties of an animal. Birds will have all the properties of an animal, but it will have like extra properties also. Like it will have wings, it will have fur, and all of that. And
Yeah.
when we like similarly, we can have a tiger inheriting from the animal class, so that also will have all the properties of the animal class, but then it will have additional properties and methods also. For example, it has claws, its color is different, etc, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, so we'll have a parent class, and then we'll have a child class. For example, here we are creating a class person, and in its init method we are creating first name and last name, and basically we are creating a function print name. And then when we create an object, and we are calling print name on the object, and we are getting first name and last name. So John Doe.
Yeah.
So this is a normal class that we created in the like last chapter also. Now we can create a child class. So how we do that is over here. So we are saying class student, and we are saying person. So we pass person in the brackets of student. We had no brackets over here when creating class, but when we want to inherit, then we pass the parent class in the brackets when
In the
creating the
brackets.
class. So we say
Yeah. Okay.
class
Understood.
student, and person, and for now we are just passing, we are not adding any additional properties and values. We are just keeping all
Okay.
the properties and values of the person class. So if we say x equals to student and x dot print name, so this will do the same as what we were doing over here, because essentially this is just one
Yeah.
copy of the person class right now.
Yeah, like it does not have anything separate
Yeah,
right now.
it has everything of the
Yeah,
person class only.
understood.
Next we can will we also usually when we are inheriting we create the init method of that specific class also. For example, student class will have like initialize its other properties also. Like we can also have a subclass child class like teacher. So teacher will have the property, teacher will have different properties, student will have different properties, but they all are persons. So basically we will usually define like our init method for the specific child class also, because that will also have its individual properties. For example, self, and we'll keep f name and l name for now only. And like in this we can pass, so in the init if we pass, that's also fine.
Yeah, understood.
And for example, what we can do, we can say person, we can say person dot init, and we are saying self f name and l name. So what this will do, this will run the init method of the person class. So when we say person dot init, it will run the init method of the person class only, and it will pass the value self, f name and l name. Now self we have to pass manually because we do not have an object right now. We do not have an object right now. When we have an object, for example, when we say x dot print name, then it directly passes the value for self as x, but we do not have any object. So what we say person dot init, and we have to pass self and f name and l name. So
Yeah,
we are not
okay.
creating our own init method, we are just initializing how the person class was initializing. So we are just calling its init method.
Yeah,
Next we have the super function also. So super function is basically another way to do this. So instead of manually saying person, what we do, we say super.init. So what this will do, this will see that what is the parent class. So it sees that the parent class is person, so it will call its init method. And now in this case we do not want to pass self. So when using the super method, we need not pass self, as you can see over here. We just need to pass the properties f name, l name. Self it will take itself.
okay.
And then after after having first name and last name, the student would like to have its individual properties also. For example, like this graduation year property equals to 2019. So now this property is unique than the person class. The person class has two properties, first name, last name, but the student class has three properties, first name, last name and graduation year.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we create the student object and we say x dot like print x dot graduation year, print x dot graduation year, then this will show 2019 to us. What is this doing? We are getting an,
Error.
yeah, we are getting, oh, I have indented wrong, indentation error.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are getting 2019. So that was just an indentation error. We added spaces over here and tabs over here, so that's why.
Yeah.
And then basically we can say we can add another parameter in the init method, and we can say self dot graduation year equals to year, and then we can pass over here like 2019. So that will be the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
and then we can add like our own methods also in the child class. So like we already have the method of print name. So we already have the method print name in the student class, but we can like also create our own method. For example, there's this welcome method. So this method can we can create our own methods also.
Okay.
And if we just call welcome x dot welcome, then we'll get the printed statement. So it will show welcome John Doe to the class of 2019.
Yeah. Okay.
And this was basically inheritance. So is inheritance clear, or should I just go over anything else, because like it's a new concept?
Yeah, no, I've understood right now. If I have any doubts, I'll ask you tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Now we are on iterators. So we saw like there were these iterables like a list, tuple, dictionary, set. So these were all iterable objects. Now we are on iterators. So basically an iterator has a countable number of values. Basically we can loop upon an iterator. So like we might be thinking that we can also loop upon an iterable. So the difference is that when we are looping upon an iterable, it converts it into an iterator and then it loops upon it. So when we have like a my tuple and or my list, and we try to say for x in my list, so an iterator of that list has been created and then the loop works. So in the background all this happens that we cannot see, but in the background an iterator is being created and then the loop like is able to go over different values. So basically
Okay.
to go over an iterator, basically it's like a set of countable number of values. I do not mean the set that we saw earlier, not the data type, but it's like
Yeah.
a collection of countable number of values. For example, we have my tuple and we're saying apple, banana, cherry, and when we say we use the iter method of on my tuple, so this will return an iterator object. Now my IT has the iterator object. Now in this iterator, when we say print next my IT, so it will show apple. Then when we say print next my IT, it will show banana. So using this next method, we can go over different items in an iterator.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the iter method is used to get an iterator, and the to work with iterators we have these two methods, iter and next.
So in this, like, we have used a tuple, but like we can use anything, or will only a tuple work?
No, we can use anything. So for example, we had a list, so that would also work.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can also create an iterator of a string. So for example, like because we can loop over strings, so we can say for x in my string, that's why we can also create an iterator of it. So we say iter my string, so it will create an iterator of banana in my it. So whenever we say next, it will get the next uh, like item.
Alphabet.
Yeah, alphabet or
Yeah.
item. So for example, b, it will first get BANANA. So that's how it will go.
Yeah.
And
Understood.
it's like not necessary to call next one after the other. For example, we can do some other operations over here, something like other operations, and like we can, whenever we call next, it will continue with the next item. For example,
Okay.
we
Okay.
do not give this over here, so it will just show B, and whenever we call next once more, it will show A. Then next, so it will show N.
Basically, like read in text files. Like it keeps on going to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
next.
yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like a pointer, and it remembers where the
yeah,
pointer ended.
yeah, understood.
Yeah. Now we can loop through an iterator. So for example, the for we can like not like directly loop through an iterator, but like the for loop, what it does is it creates an iterator of my tuple, creates an iterator of my string in the background, and then it loops. So when we are saying for x in my tuple, so what it does is it actually initializes some my it that we saw and says iter of my tuple, and then in x we are getting next my it. So x value every time is next my it. So we can look at this in action using the while loop. While what we say, next my it. So while we are getting the next value of my iterator, we are going to print next my it. I actually did not see like what happens when it goes like out of bounds. Yeah, so when it goes out of bounds, it like
Gives an error.
yeah, it gives an error. So like we can use the try block and the catch, and we can do all that stuff, but the for loop in the background creates an iterator, and then it basically gives us the values in x.
Yeah, understood.
Now we can create our own iterators also. So till now we were creating iterators of like iterable objects. Now we can create our own iterator using the double underscore iter double underscore, and have using the double underscore next double underscore methods. Now for example, we have this class my numbers, and we have this iter method which will take self. Every method will take self, and we're saying self dot a equals to 1, and we are saying return self. And the next, what it will do, it will basically bring the value of x in self dot a. It will increment self dot a and return x. So it's unnecessarily um, like what oh yeah, this is required. So when we say next, it will, what it will do, it will save the value of self dot a. So next, what it does, it does two things. It increments the value, or basically goes to the next value, and it also returns the value of like the current element. So for this to understand, we'll have to like see a normal iterator also on an iterable object. So what the next does is it first brings apple, and then goes on and shifts the pointer to banana. So whenever next will be called once again, it will go and show banana and shift the pointer to show cherry. And whenever next will be called, it will like show cherry, and it would shift the pointer to the end of the iterator object. Similarly, what we are doing, we are saying x equals to self dot a plus equals to 1, so it will go to the next item, and then we are returning x, the previous item. So like we were doing it, we are
Yeah,
returning apple and going to the next item. So we are returning 1 and going to the next item. Now we are doing this in this order because whenever we use the return statement, then it will break out of the function. So wherever we use it, it will
yeah,
finish the function. So we have to save the value of self dot a in a temporary variable, then we have to increment it, and then we had to return the original value. So
yeah, okay.
when we say my class equals to my numbers, it creates an object of this my numbers class. Now we can say my iter equals to iter my class. Now we are able to call the iter method on it because we have this underscore underscore iter underscore underscore. If we, for example, did not have it, then this will bring an error. Why? Because it does not, like, it cannot use, it's saying that it cannot use an iter method on an object which is not an iterable. So my class is not an iterable, it's our own custom class. Iterables we have only seen are tuples, list, dictionary, set, and string. My class is not an iterable, that we have this object over here, it's not an iterable, but because we have defined this iter method in it, we can use the iter method on it to create an iterator. So what this is doing, this is basically
Yeah.
doing is, it is saying self dot a equals to 1 and return self. Now what return self is doing, it is returning the object back. We are not returning the value of a, we are returning the whole object back that we were getting in self, that we are returning, and that is being saved in my iter. So
Yeah.
what is basically is happening is, it's just creating this self dot a, this a property, it's setting its value to 1, and it's returning the, like, a whole object once again. So if I print the type of my iter, you would see what is happening in the background. So you will see class main my numbers. So it's basically the same as the type of my class. It is the same object. It is the same object.
Yeah.
So as we
Okay.
so basically this could be done in a different way. I'll show you the different way once we are over with this. So when we call the next method, we are getting the value and it is being incremented. So next my iter will give 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5.
Yeah.
So it's saving it in x, it's incrementing it, and it's returning x. So first it was 1, so we get 1. It has been incremented. So next it will be 2, we'll get 2, it will be incremented, then 3, then it will be incremented, and so on. Now this will go on forever. Another way to, like, do this was to, like, not like use all this. So for example, iter func we say, and what we say in next, we are just, yeah, next func. So to use this syntax, we use those underscore methods. What we can say my class dot iter func that we have created. So what this will do, this will initialize a. Alright, so this will initialize a. Now when we say print my class dot next func, so it will bring the next value of a. So this won't work.
Yeah.
This won't work, sorry, I forgot to delete that. So it will bring the next value. Now we copy the statement 5 times, and we basically will get the same result. So that now this is what is happening actually. So when we sing my class dot iter func, we are just initializing a property a. Next, then when we are saying next func that we have created, so we are getting the value of a and it's being incremented, then we are getting the value of a and it's being incremented, and so on. So that was just to use the syntax of an iterator. This code over here was just to use the syntax of the iterator, the underscore underscore and creating the iterator and all. So what this iter function is doing is just creating confusion. We don't need to do it like this. It's basically creating a property a. It's just creating a property a, it's doing nothing else. and returning the same
Yeah.
object that we created. But like to make it like work like an iterator, we are doing it this way, even though this was a very like there's this simpler way over here. What we are doing is we are just creating a counter, like we have a counter variable, we are just creating a counter over here. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
I hope this is clear. It's like a very new concept, so that's why.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that you understand what is happening in the background. On like above, if we just look at this code, we'll say that an iterator object is being created through the statement, and then we are using the next method like we do on any other iterator object. Now, actually, it's just doing nothing. It's just two lines where the my numbers object of my numbers class was only getting returned.
Yeah.
And next we have stop iteration. So basically when we like in this counter example, we can go on forever, we can call next forever, and it will get the incremented value forever. Now over here in this example we have class my numbers, and in the next method we are just changing the next method. We are saying if the value of a is less than or equal to 20, then only it will work like an
Iterator.
like we will be able to use the next function then only.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when we exceed 20, then it will raise stop iteration. So you must have seen this stop
Okay.
iteration when we were like using the while loop. So when I tried to use the while loop, you
Yeah.
in the error we were getting stop iteration because it did not find
Yeah.
any more items. That's why.
Yeah. Understood.
And this raise keyword, what this does is it gives out like an error. So it gives out a statement like an error. we, we
Okay.
could have
Okay.
we,
Understood.
we could have also done like print you need to stop the iteration, so that would also work.
Yeah. So this will basically
Yeah.
create an error to stop the
Yeah,
iteration.
this will create an error. So
Okay.
if I say next after the loop, if I say next my iter print, then this will raise an error stop iteration. And this is a custom error. It's not, we are not getting it from Python, we have made it ourselves.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. So this was iterators, and now we are on polymorphism. Now we have 2 minutes left, so we'll be able to get the basics of polymorphism right now. So in polymorphism, what we do is we design our code in such a way that we are able to use one single method on many objects. For example, the length method, that's len,
Yeah.
we are able to use it on
Yeah.
strings, on tuples, on dictionaries, on lists, and we are able to use it like on all iterable objects. And this is
Yeah.
only achieved through polymorphism. We have designed our code in such a way, or Python has done it in such a way, that we are able to use the length method on all these objects, on strings, on lists, on tuples and dictionary. So we can also design our classes in such a way that basically all the objects of the different classes will have that same method. So like class car, class boat,
Okay.
class plane, all have the method move. So we will be able to call move on all the objects of these classes. Now less than one
Yeah.
minute is left, so we'll continue with polymorphism in the next class.
Okay. Thank you so much, Saion. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, thank you, bye.